Hello again, everyone. My name is Jeff, otherwise known as the Economic Prepper. Thank you for stopping by. Today, we're going to talk about something that's been I don't know about you, but it's tough to stay on top of the news these days. It just changes so rapidly. But the one I wanted to touch on is now that we've had a little bit of the dust settle, just a little bit. We're only about a week into our new president, but he did sign something for the executive order towards cryptocurrency. That's what I want to talk about today. And I'm gonna keep it as short as I can and nice, brief, to the point. But if you like this kind of content and these kinds of summaries and this kinds of content, like, share, subscribe, all that cool stuff. Appreciate it. Okay, let's just jump right into it. I'm going to share my screen that looks like this here. I'll share the link in the description. I forget exactly where I got this from. I think it is National Law Review. Okay, so let's just walk through this. And President Trump issues an executive order. Now, it's not even numbered yet. It's so young. But he issued it on January. Well, this is posted on January 27th. So this is really a young article here. But he signed this on the 23rd. And it's an executive order. The executive order looks like this. It's called the Strengthening American Leadership in Digital Financial Technology. Doesn't even have a number yet. They're so far behind in numbering these executive orders because there's been so many that they're going to catch up. But first off, let's go over the top 5 things that are covered in the executive order. The EO, executive order, sets out 5 high-level policy objectives. Let me make sure this looks right on the screen. Yes, it does. Okay. Number 1, protecting the lawful use of blockchain networks, participation in mining and validation, and self-custody of digital assets without unlawful censorship. That last part's really important, the unlawful censorship. That speaks to choke point 2.0 and also 1.0, but all the things they were doing to throttle you at banks, make it difficult for you to buy or sell cryptocurrency in the United States, that's trying to wash that out. So you're allowed to participate in blockchain networks, mining, validation, digital assets without censorship. Number 2, promotes dollar-backed stablecoins. So they're going to be moving towards the dollar-backed stablecoin, but we're going to get to CBDCs in a moment. Number 3, ensuring fair and open access to banking services. Again, choke point 2.0. Number 4, providing regulatory clarity for digital assets based on well-defined jurisdictional regulatory boundaries. That's a mouthful. We'll get into that in a moment. Number 5, prohibiting CBDCs, central bank digital currencies. So it rescinds a couple executive orders that were studying CBDCs, but let's just jump right into, in terms of affirmative directives, the EO accomplishes the following. It establishes a working group on digital asset markets to be chaired by a special advisor for AI and crypto, and include the chairman of the SEC, the chairman of the CFTC, the Attorney General, and the Secretary of the Treasury, amongst 7 other top officials. It'll direct the working group to identify regulations, guidance documents, and orders pertaining to the digital assets industry within 30 days. Number 2, submit recommendations regarding rescission, modification, or regulatory adoption of these items within 60 days. And 3, submit a report to President Trump recommending regulatory and legislative proposals to A, establish a federal framework for the issuance and operation of digital assets, including stablecoins, and B, to evaluate the potential creation and maintenance of a national digital asset stockpile. That was a lot. All right, so before I read the next bullet, first off, we get the CFTC and the SEC involved in this working group, and the working group is important. Since I'm talking to it, I'm going to drop out of this mode and just speak to, as you can see me here. So the second point about the working group, first 2 points, 30 days and 60 days to get me information, to get the president information to make a decision. And then recommend proposals, recommend legislation and regulation, and then establish a framework for the issuance of an issuance and operation of digital assets, including stablecoins. This is going to lead to the U.S. issuing a stablecoin, a digital dollar. I mentioned that on other videos where I talked about how we would get rid of the IRS and balance the budget, but I think it warrants, that's a longer video, and it was kind of buried in there, but I want to get to that, so I'm going to make a separate video on just U.S. stablecoin, and we'll talk about that in the next video. But the other point here is to evaluate the potential creation and maintenance of a national digital asset stockpile. What does that mean? That means there's been, you may have heard of the phrase SBR, or Strategic Bitcoin Reserve. There's been a lot of talk about that on Twitter, a lot of talk about that in the crypto circles and Bitcoin especially. Senator Loomis, I think she's from Wyoming, has been pushing for it. She's probably going to be on this commission as well. But the bottom line is that they want to have, rather than have the president come out and say, we need to get Bitcoin and make it a strategic Bitcoin reserve and that's what we should stock. There's a reason he's not doing it. He doesn't want to speak to the power of or lack of power of any particular cryptocurrency. He doesn't want to play favorites. So rather than do that, he created this working group that will create this report within 2 months, get it back to him and say, here's what we recommend. Here's how you should make a US stablecoin. And here's the coins that we recommend for stockpiling because they look like good blockchains to work with in the future. Now, the last point I wanted to point out here, let me share my screen again. I will talk more about that commission and how that makes sense and the strategic Bitcoin reserve and what that all means in another video. But I just want to go through the executive order on this one just to keep it short and tight. You can watch the other videos too. The last point, let's see, I point up here. There we go. The stuff in yellow. Let me read the yellow part to you real quickly. The EO prohibits CBDCs, which the EO states that these threaten the stability of the financial system, individual privacy, and the sovereignty of the United States, underscoring that any ongoing plans or initiatives at any agency related to the creation of a CBDC within jurisdiction of the United States shall be immediately terminated and no further actions may be taken to develop or implement such plans or initiatives. That's enough of that. So I'm going to jump out of there once again, come back to this. So no CBDCs. And for those of you who are not familiar with that, that is, imagine having every one of these in either paper or digital form with an asset tracker on it, okay? So you've got a tracker on this, like think of it as like a tracking a FedEx package or any shipment. You would always know where this is, what it's being used for, and so on. That's what a CBDC would do. There goes your privacy. And then they have the authority, because it's centralized, the banking is centralized in a CBDC, they have the authority to approve or disapprove any transactions or things you want to buy. So it basically gets to very quickly a police state. That's what they are looking to avoid. That's much appreciated. CBDCs go against privacy and sovereignty as exactly laid out in the executive order. Lastly, about this commission, again, Trump doesn't want to come out and say buy Bitcoin or buy XRP or Litecoin or Cardano or any other project you'll name out there. He doesn't want to do that. So what he'd rather do is start this commission, let them make the recommendation, and then make a decision based off the report. Doesn't show favoritism to any particular project. So that's the start of these conversations. I'm probably going to be knocking out a bunch of videos today, but lots to speak to. What are your thoughts on this executive order that's yet to be numbered? We'll call it Crypto Number 1. EO Crypto Number 1. What are your thoughts? Leave a comment down below. Check them all out, and I will see you in the next video as we talk more about what's happening. So much to talk about. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.